it is another beautiful Wellness Wednesday here on High Impact TV, tea or coffee. And you know, here is where we either take tea or we take coffee. And High Impact TV, of course, we are the first full HD TV station in Nigeria. And we are known for securing the future. We educate, we inform, and we entertain you. My name is Mudukwe Jacobs, and I have with me, as always on Wednesdays, two beautiful ladies, starting from you.
Oluwaseun Olusegun.
And good morning, ladies. I've been doing lots of talking, sharing our experiences as to how, you know, our mothers used to pack our lunch when we were in school. And now we have our guest in the studio to do justice to the topic, dietary habits for children. His name is Ebenezer Anifowose, and he is a nutritionist. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Welcome
to TM.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming here.
Okay, so let's let our health correspondent set the ball rolling.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we are talking about dietary habits in children, especially the healthy choices.
Yeah.
But first, we have to define what dietary habits are. So what is dietary habits? What are dietary habits?
I think just like every other habit, I believe, so dietary habits are basically the options we and food choices we make every day, day in, day out. So over time, becomes an habit, whether it's positive or negative. Yeah, so that's what would be dietary habits if I have to define it succinctly.
Okay. All right, so we're talking about dietary habits in children. So now, for parents out there who do not actually know how to balance the diet for their children, she gave an example of a friend who actually takes EPA in the morning for breakfast to school. I mean, so how can parents have knowledge to imbibe this dietary habits into their children?
All right, thank you. Basically, if I'll start off with a reference to the EPA, breakfasts are supposed to be light foods, something not too heavy. And actually, they are one of the most important meals for the day. The recommendation is that children should never skip breakfast. So no matter how busy a parent is, you must ensure that your child takes something before they leave home, because if you put it in their lunchbox or their bag, they might not have it until noon or something. So it's important that you ensure they take something before they leave home in the morning. No matter how light it is, maybe just a cup of tea or coffee, and toast or something, or egg.
Okay, actually, because they're not just watching in Nigeria, other parts of countries are also watching. So in case you're wondering what EBA is, EBA is actually a meal.
You might need to define that.
Yes, EBA is actually a meal for the western part of Nigeria, Yorubas. It's actually common with Yorubas, and it's made with gari, cassava. Using cassava, yes. So please go on. I just needed to clear that. Clear.
So yeah, so lunch basically. So for children, of course, have to pack their lunch boxes. And the other important thing, recommendation is fruits and vegetables should be part of their daily diets. So we need to ensure that there's that balance. So when they go to school, ensure in the lunch box that there's a fruits. There's a major meal, and then other snack options, because children, of course, want to snack through the day. So once that is done, then at the evening, when they come back home, most likely, you will now ensure they also have a balanced diet, not too heavy, of course, because of going to bed. So doing that over time, ensuring that there's fruit and vegetables in your diet constantly at all meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and on every other day, ensures the child learn these basic habits. And I think I can say this at this point also, one habit that they should not cultivate is taking lots of sugar.
Sugar, okay.
Yes, so I think that's actually where we can just park there and just talk about that, because a lot of it is about sugar. Sugar is the culprit for most of the diseases.
And this is actually the best time to talk about it, because they're in school now, and parents can actually learn this.
Yes. So so once you're sure that they are not used to sugar, or if they are used to it already, try to just cut down their sugar intake. Especially added sugar intake. So I think that's actually where the crux of all of the habit is. Everything is tied to sugar eventually, whether it's processed foods or just soda that kids is having, even their juice that's in their lunchbox. So just monitoring the sugar, and once the child understands that it shouldn't have too much sugar. So even if I've had sugar, I had sugar yesterday, I had a drink yesterday, I had 2 days ago. Once the child understands that I should monitor my sugar intake, they can also begin to make choices and say, okay, I don't want this today. If someone offers them at lunch, or he has to buy something at school, okay, let me opt for this rather than this. So I think that's where it will be empowering children to also be able to make their own choices. when they understand the effect of what they eat on their diet and
so
academics.
You mentioned the fact that sometimes in the lunch pack of the child there should be snacks. So what do you prefer? What do you prefer as healthy snack? What you recommend?
All right.
Because you said sugar. I mean, most of these snacks contain sugar.
Yes. To cut down on sugar in snacks, we're taking our local alternatives. We have many foods that can be used as snacks.
Like
Granuts.
Snack?
Yes. Yes.
Children, telling a child to take granuts to
actually react
school.
to that. To granuts.
Allergies.
Yeah, of course, there are many other alternatives, and it's about if your child reacts to it, then you look for the alternatives. But kuli, granuts and all its derivatives anyway, everything it's made up from. And you could also make your homemade food, also helps cut down on sugar.
Okay.
So you can actually make your cookies at home. Yes, you could do that. Baking at home.
Baking at home.
So it's different from buying biscuits up in the market or something like so. Because the sugar content will be quite different because you can control what you put into it. So if it's cake too, anyway, if it's made at home, it's preferable to whatever you buy outside. It's also kind of general principle. Homemade meals are best, irrespective of whatever it is. Yeah. So walnuts. I think they're just things that come in season. I just saw someone selling walnuts today. It's snacks. I mean, so we can actually munch on those things. So
because I was going to mention that I have a friend that gives her child tiger nuts to school.
That's a 5-star parent. Please.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. I have my head is buzzing with lots of questions. Before she mentioned that, we were talking about how peer pressure comes into play when these children take snacks to school. Now, tiger nuts, almond, pistachios, all kinds of nuts that you take to school. How can you monitor your child's intake when you're not there, knowing fully well that these children, anything can influence their choices, despite the fact that they are aware that, okay, this is healthy and all that. How will you be able to monitor your child when somebody gives a very nice processed cookie to the child and says, okay, this is pretty sweet, and all that. So how can you do that?
Well, I think there may be no way to monitor because you can't be there except the teacher in school is also doing the monitoring. But I think what will be most important is to empower the child with knowledge to make choices. And really, not just children, teenagers, adults. I mean, we don't want to be controlled. But once we are empowered with knowledge, we can make a choice. So it's not about avoiding cookies, not like it's a no-no. There's no law that says never eat this, never eat that, no, when it comes to health. But the child knows, okay, I can have cookies on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. Well, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I shouldn't have any, and he knows why. Not just that it's saying never eat it, don't touch it. No. So the child understands why he should not have too much of this or too much of that. So I think that's just the most important knowledge. In fact, he or she be the one educating his other colleagues that you're having too much of this, you're having too much of this. Too much of everything is bad. So it's that balance that is very important. And as a parent, once you ensure your child has the balance, as this, as that, not too much of everything, not like every day it has to be soda and soda and soda and soda and soda, or cake and cake and cake. And so that's where the excess comes. But once the child is empowered to understand why, and also empowered to make choices. I think that's probably how to monitor. And one other important thing that I think we really need to focus in, and schools also should focus on. In the school shops, what do they have on display? It's really worrisome. It bothers me.
Very pertinent.
It bothers me a lot. NCDs, a lot of diseases that are tied to diets, we are still struggling, the adults.
There's been non-communicable diseases,
Non-communicable diseases, yes, that are preventable, and major risk factors are diet and exercise and active lifestyle. So the burden is high. A lot of people are down with them. 1 in 2 persons have hypertension. But what are we doing to secure the next generation? I think when parents even understand this, maybe they'll be more encouraged to do the needful. Because sometimes we also know these things, but we are not doing them. And so there's that gap between knowledge and actually acting on them. But the burden is real, and we need to help our children, like secure their future. Whatever they eat now determines how healthy they will be in 10 years, 15 years time. So we can actually protect them by what we feed them. So that's the big picture. And once the child understands this too, understands what causes diabetes, excess sugar, which burdens the body, and then the body breaks down, can no longer process sugar like it should. What can I do? Cut down my sugar, ensure I don't have too much sugar over the week. And it's not just per day, I mean, it's over time.
Over time.
Yeah. So once the child has the basic knowledge, hypertension, because everybody has hypertension, 1 in 2 persons rather. So sorry for saying everybody. The statistics 1 in 2 persons, 1 in 2 adults above 40 have hypertension in Nigeria. So what can we do to ensure that our children in the next 15 years they'll be 25, 30, and then they are more protected. They are not exposed to risk factors for all of these diseases. So it's by just helping them now.
Yeah. You know, I feel Wura should relate to that experience that you said you had with your cousin.
Yes. I mentioned that earlier. Talking about peer pressure, you know, I have a cousin that went to school, and then her mom, like you mentioned earlier on, I was just about to tell him that I think her mom needs to watch this when you mentioned that a child must have fruit or vegetable in their lunch box to school. So the mom usually gives apple and water for mid-break. Then she takes proper food by 2 o'clock. And then the child takes the fruit to school and realizes that her mates brings snack, biscuits, drinks, and all of that. So one of them approached her and told her that your mom can't afford to get all of this for you, and that is why she's giving you fruit and water every day. You know, my mom traveled and got all of this for me, and that was like, okay, what's happening? Why would a child actually say that? Then she got to school and decided to tell her mom that she is no longer taking fruit or food. Both food, she said she's no longer taking any of it to school again, that because this is what her friend said about it. And I think that is where peer pressure comes in. That kind of situation, what would you advise the parents?
Yes, I think apart from what I said earlier, schools also have a part to play. Because of course there are school policies, elder school policies, that if schools actually follow, they need to encourage eating healthy, eating of fruits and vegetables. They need to encourage it a lot. So what is the school's opinion? Has the school ever talked about healthy eating? Has the teacher ever mentioned it in their basic science subjects? They do food and nutrition. They do, okay, that's for senior, but they have the subjects where they touch on fruit and vegetables. What did they teach them during that session? So I mean, if the teacher actually also elaborated why fruits and vegetables are important and why they should be eat every day, I don't think that other students would have been bold to say, because everybody will have an understanding of these things are important. If you are not eating these things, then your diet is not balanced. You're not having adequate diet. You know, so that should be a general notion of understanding amongst all school children.
Okay, before we go on break, actually, I wanted you to explain, because the following day, the mother now had to pack so much junks in the lunchbox, like 5 different expensive brands of biscuits. Just packed everything so that child can understand and look, I can afford it. But it's just for my child to stay healthy. Now, do you think that was right?
The right approach?
I wouldn't think that was the best approach. It was an approach, but I wouldn't think that was the best approach. Understanding is the most important thing. If the child who had to not take the junks to school had the knowledge, of course, there and then would have confronted the other person and say, this is what it is.
Probably educate the
that was just to boost the confidence of the child.
But I've taken that to school, maybe not too wrong, but it's still the, so maybe if it's for my child, and maybe, show this to your friend and let them understand why. It is not that you cannot afford it, but it is the best.
Okay, so you know we need to go on a break now, but please do stay glued. We still have Mr. Ebenezer Anifowose here in the studio with us talking about dietary habits for children. Yes, you're welcome back to Tea or Coffee, and we are still talking about dietary habits for children. Yes, we still have an nutritionist in the studio with us. Yes, Ebenezer Anifowose, and we were talking about, you know, our experience, our cousin and all, and thankfully you've been able to explain that, you know. So now let's talk about, you know, what is the right food intake, in what proportion and what type of foods do you think is recommended, is best for children now that especially they are going, they're already back in school, for all-round growth?
Yes, very similar to the food recommendations for adults.
Okay.
I also just want to say, before I delve into it, that there is no special food, because people usually have this habit of, once they hear that food is good, then they just latch onto that food. Yes, and then they say it's good, they take too much of it. So it's always about having a balance.
Okay.
And we've also moved from balanced diet to adequate diets. Yeah. It's about...
Yes, I was about to ask.
Back in school, I mean, years ago, they teach us balanced diets, carbohydrate, protein, fat, and that's what makes your diet balanced. But eating is very from nutrition.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a difference. So if you eat, doesn't mean you are actually getting nutrition from that food. So adequate nutrition is what is important now, ensuring that you are getting adequate. And it's adequate because on a daily basis, children, adults, they need a certain amount of vitamins and minerals. Then go on to say energy and other things. Yeah. So if we are not getting those daily doses of vitamins and minerals, we're not feeding ourselves like we should. We're not getting adequate nutrition. And plus and minus, I think that's what affects us over time. So for children, there has to be that balance in all of the classes of food. And the new class of food, not really new, but with science and research, they keep coming with new information. So cereals, so we have the corn, the millet, and every other food group under that. Then we have the tubers, cassava, yam, and co. Then we have the fruit and vegetables, of course, fruits, major fruits that we all know, and vegetables, leafy green vegetables, and that. And then we also have the absurd cereals, legumes. Legumes are the beans, the lentils, cowpeas, soya beans, and all that. So those are the major food groups, and we just have to ensure that the child has, on a daily basis, takes food from all of those food groups. Carbohydrates, which gives the energy, should form about 40 to 50% of the diet. Then fruit and vegetables, also about, I skipped protein earlier. Fruit and vegetables, also about 30%. And then protein, about 15 to 30%. Proteins, of course, meat, fish, and all the eggs and milks, and all of their derivatives. So it's not about ensuring they have that balance. But children are growing, so they need lots of protein. They need it on a daily basis, and then milk is important because it gets to fortify them with vitamins, calcium rather, and many other nutrients. So I think that would be it really. Of course, it's a wide topic, and we won't really go down into doing calculations about a child probably needs around 1,000 to 1,500 calories per day. But of course, the emphasis is no more on calories. We're moving from there because it kind of distorts healthy nutrition. People now just count calories. So the emphasis is on calories, but obviously, if you do give your child breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it reflects all of these food groups, and the child has enough to their fuel, they are likely to cover the calories by default.
Okay, so I actually have to come in there talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You said you must take something light. Now, what you refer as something light might not be what I would see as something light. Some parents still feel like noodles can be something light, rice can be something light. But as a nutritionist, I would want you to actually mention particular foods that would actually be perfect for breakfast for children.
Rice is not a no-no for breakfast. It's fine. Of course, that just means you won't have too much of it. Bread, toasts, eggs. Really, maybe because I'm on air, I think.
No brands.
What do you say?
No brands.
Yeah, no brands. Yeah,
no
brands. But I think what we would not want to have for breakfast are heavy foods. I think let's just put it like that. Yeah, because it's wrong to say don't have this kind of food for breakfast. There's no law that says that. So, but if it's not too heavy, that won't make the child feel drowsy. then I think
story.
Because a lot of people actually take in noodles in the morning. First, is fast to make, and then
I would not want us to shake that noodles table because there is a lot to be shaken there.
I know, right?
A whole lot. And then another thing about talking about breakfast, I think there is all these fortified cereals that you could use milk, because I know there's something about children between 0 to 5 years, they have this growth, this brain growth, and then the cognitive functions are kind of built there. So they need omega-3 fatty acids and then foods containing them, specifically milk. I think they said from 0 to 5 years old, they should always take milk, right?
Yes.
Because of those compounds. Okay.
But let me also just add that bearing it down, now fortified meals are required because we know that it's more difficult to get in all of those nutrients by eating food. So ideally, we only fortify because we know we are not getting them from food. If you get what I mean.
Yes.
So that's why, of course, it's important to now put the children on fortified diets, fortified cereals, and ensure they get enough.
So just because our time is fast spent, let me ask this quick question about picky children. Now let me give an example, because I have a niece, and then thankfully she doesn't like sweet things. If you give her sweet, she won't take it. You know, she's more of the fruits person. You give her apple, you give her pineapple. She loves, fruits. But in a case where, you now want to give her rice, and she's so picky that, there's specific things that she likes and that you can't just even force her to take. So in case of picky children, how can you encourage them to, eat healthy, especially when they don't want to, take the food?
Plus, before you answer that question, you were talking about food choices, how you can educate these children to know the difference between right and wrong. So how do you draw the line between giving them the choice to choose, the choice for healthy meals or of healthy meals, and they saying, okay, I don't want to eat this, how do you draw that line between picky eats and giving them a choice?
So that it can actually be part of them, and they get to the point where they can make choices themselves.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'll start off from here.
Okay.
I think if children, if I can say picky eaters for children, babies, toddlers, they're picky, they don't eat a lot of things, and then you have to look for what they want. But once someone becomes a child, 5 years, 5 to 10, we still have a lot of say on their food choices. But a time comes when they say they don't just eat something, or they might actually react to it or become allergic to it. I think partly it's because of how they started. I mean, what they were fed when they were much, much smaller. So what I'm trying to say is people can get used to foods. If I've never had yam while I didn't have enough of it while I was 1, 2, 3, it might be difficult for me to start eating yam or liking yam at 5. So when a child says, I don't like this, it isn't natural. The child, it was an habit the child had now developed to say, I don't like a particular food. So we can actually also change that. So it's not always absolute. When someone says, I don't like this food, we can help the child learn to like the food by introducing the food subtly or in different forms as we can. Of course, not like forcing child to eat what child doesn't want to eat, absolutely.
Or you modify the forms.
Modify the forms, yes, Process it. So if it's beans, akara, and the likes, mamoy and co. So how to help picky children? So there's no formula that works. It's about understanding your child and just helping them to understand. The knowledge will always play a part, depending on the age of the child, that you need these foods. So knowledge can help, and then processing the food, modifying into different forms, giving alternatives, and then introducing the food little by little can help over time. So I think that would be it, really, because there's really no way to, except there's a specific case you are addressing.
Okay, I'm going to be very brief with this because our time is fast spent. Okay, so talking about picky eating, there was a time my nephew, when he was growing up, he was about 1 year old. So, and then my sister wanted the best nutrition for him, so she got this really expensive brand, and then introduced it to the child. Very expensive, fortified with nutrients and all that. And no, this baby refused to take it. The baby was taking the regular cereals, ogi and all that. I'm like, what kind of child? So How do you do that? You know, despite the fact, okay, she withdrew it at some point, later introduced it. No, the child refused.
Okay.
So how do you deal with that? You just cut the food out?
Well, yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you just have to, you can try again, but not like it's the only, not like that's the food the child has to eat to grow. If the child doesn't have that food, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just about finding the alternatives. And then
thank you very much,
Thank you so
Ebenezer
much,
Anifowose, for coming to the show today.
Thanks
I
for
was
having me.
really thank you for coming today.
Yeah.
All right, so we've learned that, you know, we have to give our children the right, you know, food.
It's not just about eating,
exactly,
but the nutrition.
The nutrition in it. There's fruits, vegetables, you know, and the likes of it. I could go on and on about what we have learned because we actually have learned a lot, but our time is fast spent. But so I'm going to just do this quickly. Let me pass it to you.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. We know
coming.
we cannot quantify it, but then thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
honoring us
so much
with
fun.
your
And
knowledge.
yes, of course, on behalf of High Impact TV, yes, we are presenting that
Thank
to
you very much.
as a
Thank
token
you.
of our appreciation.
Yeah.
You know, so thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thanks for
All
having me.
right. It's at this point that we have to
we
wrap
have to
up
wrap
the
it.
show.
Time to go.
But be sure to take tea or coffee this morning.
Yeah,
It's important. All right. So please join us same time and of course same station tomorrow for another exciting episode of Tea or Coffee. My name remains Modupe Jacobs.
And I am Uraola Pupola.
And I'm Oluwase Olusegun.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers. Bye. Bye.